But India, we know, is struggling to vaccinate even those above 18. So where will it get the shots for kids? Well, there's some good news on that front. Although we have a long way to go, it's a big win for India. The United States has supported India's proposal on patent waivers, which means vaccine recipes can be unlocked now. India has been pushing for this for many months now, but rich countries like the US, Canada and the UK had been blocking India's efforts at the World Trade Organization. Now that has changed. The Biden administration made a shift today. Let me bring you a part of the statement from the US Trade Representative that came last night. This is a global health crisis, and the extraordinary circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic call for extraordinary measures. The administration believes strongly in intellectual property protections, but in service of ending this pandemic, supports the waiver of those protections for COVID-19 vaccines. Extraordinary circumstances call for extraordinary measures. That is true. Also, pressure works. Remember, 100 countries have backed the proposal by India and South Africa. America was under pressure to play ball, and it has. India has welcomed the shift. New Delhi has said it hopes this waiver can be approved quickly at the WTO, the World Trade Organization. Washington's decision is having a domino effect now. The European Union, which was earlier blocking the resolution, has now said it is ready to, quote-unquote, discuss the matter.
The European Union is also ready to discuss any proposal that address the crisis in an effective and pragmatic manner. And that's why we are ready to discuss how the US proposal for waiver on intellectual property protection for COVID vaccines could help achieve that objective.
Germany said the same. It is ready for a dialogue. So discussion and dialogue, that's far from any commitment, but it's a start nonetheless. France has announced its support to the waiver. So has New Zealand. Even China has weighed in with a cryptic statement. Beijing said that it expects an effective, and I'm quoting, effective and balanced result from the discussions around the proposed waiver. And speaking of China, the chief of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, has called this a monumental decision. So it seems everyone finally agrees with everyone, which is a great move. But what happens next? More diplomatic hurdles. The World Trade Organization operates on the basis of consensus. It has 164 countries as members. And now for the resolution to pass, for any resolution to pass, all 164 countries must agree. Imagine achieving that. Diplomacy is hard work. In the last 7 months, the WTO held as many as 10 meetings on the original proposal, and all of them failed, no agreement. Here is a list of countries that are now holding back this waiver. Australia, Brazil, Canada, the European Union, Japan, Norway, Switzerland, the United Kingdom. For the resolution to pass, all of these countries must change their stand. Where does that leave us? Another proposal. India and South Africa will now present a revised proposal next month. That's what reports say. Details about this revised proposal are still not clear, but it's expected to focus on some key points. Number one, how new production sites can get vaccine patents. Number two, how countries must commit to a transparent regulatory infrastructure to manufacture these vaccines. And number three, how do we compensate pharma companies for waiving patents? Which brings us to the question, how are pharma companies taking this news? Not very well. Their stocks plummeted after America's announcement. Pfizer and Moderna were down by more than 3%. BioNTech, the company that made the Wuhan virus vaccine with Pfizer, fell by almost 17%. CureVac, another German company that is making a shot, was down by around 16%. The prospect of losing out on profits is making them bleed. But they haven't given up yet. Pharma lobbies have swung into action, quick to condemn President Biden's decision. The Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America is the lobbying arm of this industry. Its CEO called the waiver an empty promise. He said the waiver, and I'm quoting, the waiver does nothing to address the real challenges to getting more shots in arms, including last mile distribution and limited availability of raw materials. He has a point there. This group was the third highest spender on lobbying in America. It spent more than $25 million on influencing lawmakers, and now it's not playing out as they planned, so they had to complain. Same with the United Kingdom. Pharma lobbyists are up in arms.
Intellectual property rights are the lifeblood of this industry. Without it, businesses simply can't invest. We are disappointed about the news coming out of the US yesterday. We think it will do more harm than good.
Now, all of this was expected, and this resistance can be overcome if governments put their mind to it. But bigger challenges await us. Patent waiver is just the first step. Vaccine makers can only scale up production if they have the necessary supplies in hand. A typical vaccine manufacturing plant will use around 9,000 different materials to make a shot, 9,000. And these materials come from around 300 suppliers spread out across 30 countries. These raw materials and ingredients need to be sourced and delivered. Manufacturing process and production lines must be scaled up. Supply chains need to be built up to ensure last mile connectivity. Like I said in the beginning, it's a long road ahead. And work on all of this must begin right now, even as WTO members sit down to negotiate this waiver, because the world is already late in providing vaccines for all. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.